we could do with something like a national grid for learning. So said Tony Blair in 1997. But in 1979, Mrs. Thatcher said, every school should have a computer. And in fact, it arrived the day I arrived in my first teaching post in September 1980 in a London secondary school. And so Mrs. Thatcher, of course, was Friedmanite in her economics. She knew that type 1 money, my money I spend on myself, is so much more efficient and effective and economic than type 4 money, which is somebody else's money that I spend on somebody else. And so in 1988, we had local management of schools. That meant, let's give the money to the schools because they'll work out what they need most to spend their money on. And they can do it in a way that's appropriate. So actually, all the way back since 1979, the UK government's been spending a bit of money on ICT, IT then. But actually from 97, Tony Blair really got the idea that we were mucking about. We need to spend some serious money on IT under this banner of the idea of a national grid for learning. And we're still doing it this financial year, next financial year, the rate of about £20 to £24 per pupil per year. Although there was no clarity, really, no certainty, no clear crystal ball as to whether it would work. It was clearly a leap of faith. There were some targets. Let's think about how many computers we need for, or rather, what's the ratio between pupils and computers? Let's get all schools on broadband, said Tony Blair. The Prime Minister set a target, every school on broadband by 2006. And let's have a managed learning environment in schools, 2010. And now we want to report to parents online about attainment, about attendance, about special needs, about behaviour and so on. Online to parents by 2010. That sounds challenging. So there's a little context about what's been going on in the UK. And in London, well, what's the context here? We have 33 independent, very proud, independent local authorities. We're Westminster, we're Camden, and we're the best. 2,600 schools, 100,000 staff, 1 million learners, all packed into a nice, neat 1,600 square metres. Not too bad. So, along comes the London Grid for Learning. About 9 years ago, the idea that, well, this broadband stuff's jolly expensive. And I can tell you it was. 2 megabits in 1998 cost me £40,000 a year. That was proper broadband, none of this ADSL rubbish. And the idea was, well, what if we kind of all got together and exercised our collective purchasing muscle and made that a bit more affordable? So, in part what I'm talking about today are the challenges of how do you go about getting perfectly independent public bodies to collaborate in a meaningful way to generate value. And that's what we've been seeking to do. And we built a grid, a network, a big core MPLS network that connects 2,600 schools and London's 600 public libraries, all over fibre. And actually, it's worked quite well. We save about £20 million a year compared to the cost of doing it on our own. So, London Grid for Learning, London local authorities working together to achieve outcomes that exceed what we could achieve by working on our own. So, what do we do briefly? We aggregate procurement. We provide actually about 50 services now, because having done a number of things well, you build trust and then you can do more. So, for example, we deal with school admissions. Parents in London can apply for schools online through one system, even though there are 33 local authorities. Actually, that's cheaper and more efficient. And we provide some support. But we kind of moved on. About 3 or 4 years ago, we recognised, you know, we've got a credible offering here, but what's it all about? Okay, we had a bit of a vision about creating a network, but what's our passion? What do we really want to do? Well, what we want really is transformation. Because what we see is we have the potential and the need to change the way that teachers teach and children learn. You see, of course, we've had thousands of years of human history in which we've used levels of technology to improve our life. Different technologies have come along. Let me take you a little time travel. Let's go back 100 years and find a doctor, not that doctor, and let's bring them up to date into a hospital today. And what does our doctor think? Where am I? What is this place? I'm lost. Now let's go back 100 years or so and find a teacher and bring them forward 100 years to the present day. While outside has changed from this to this. And the young people inside are perfectly at home with all of this, because these young people are different. They are different. They are a new generation of young people who have grown up with new technologies. And if we fail, as David has been saying so eloquently, if we fail to engage these young people in a medium and in a media-rich environment in which they are completely native and at home and increasingly confident and competent, then we fail them. Let me introduce you to this young man who perhaps 10 years previously would have turned to the BBC or the local equivalent and said, I want to make a recording of myself playing my guitar in my bedroom. No, it doesn't work like that. You see, we have recording studios. They're complex and expensive places, and it would take a lot of money for you to come and record yourself playing your guitar. So it doesn't quite work like that. No, you see, I want to record myself playing my guitar. I've been practicing, and I feel I'm getting quite good, and I want people to be able to see what I can do. I want other people to see, so would you please record me playing my guitar so that I could go on the BBC or his local equivalent, and people could enjoy my guitar playing. And it is enjoyable. Turn him up for a minute. There's a bit of a distortion. Thank you. Now, this young man, known as Fun2, TWO, you can find him on the internet, didn't go to the BBC. He just sat in his bedroom and recorded himself playing the guitar. And you're thinking, so what? Well, and then he uploaded it to YouTube, and you're thinking, so what? And then a few people started to look at what he'd done. And he's quite good. So what? Well, a few more people came to look at him. So how many people do you think have watched Fun2 play his Pachelbel's Canon arrangement? Maybe 1,000, 100,000, perhaps 1 million? Well, I checked last night, and just on YouTube, and there's other sites where there's more, so far his audience is 66.5 million. Now, in the UK, we have a popular program called X Factor, and the final's coming up, and I can tell you no more than 12 million people will bother to watch X Factor final. This guy, he's beaten the lot. Because what we've been seeing is the democratization in publishing. You see, once upon a time, there were some big boulders on the beach, BBC, CNN, etc. And then a few